All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about how to write a polynomial with solutions that are complex. And remember, complex solutions have the I in them. So remember, if you see an I on there, I want you to refresh something. I represents the square root of -1. That's just what it's defined as. So in this problem, knowing I squared is -1 is going to be really helpful. I'm going to solve these out. Another thing we have to know is that anytime you see a 2 plus I, there's always going to be a 2 minus I. So those are going to kind of go hand in hand with each other. So just think about it as a plus or minus if you see a 2 plus I or a 2 minus I for that. So let's start by writing our factors first. This one, that's the real one. So that's just going to be x plus 4. And no multiplicity there. So actually, that's pretty simple. This one was a little trickier. So anytime you have an I, to undo those, the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the real component of it. So I'm going to subtract the 2 from the x. I'm going to leave the I put. You don't need a plus or minus in front if you don't want it, but I'm going to leave the I put. And that's going to be x minus 2 equals the I. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and delete the plus or minus because that's not really going to be useful here. I'm just going to write I there because really that's plus or minus I. When you square it, you're going to get the same thing anyway. So x minus 2 equals I. Now, if I want to get rid of this I, what I have to realize is, well, I squared is -1. And if I do the same thing to both sides, that makes the equation valid. So if I square this I, then I would just have to square the x minus 2 to kind of balance the equation out. So I want to do the same thing to both sides. Well, that's going to make this x minus 2 times x minus 2, which is x squared. And then we have minus 2x, so minus 4x. And then -2 times -2 is plus 4. Now that's going to be equal to I squared, which is -1. So now I just need to get this -1 over and get that equal to 0. So that's going to be 5. That's going to combine with the 4. So I'll have x squared minus 4x plus 5 equal to 0. Well, now I have this expression that can multiply with the x plus 4 over here. So these two are going to get multiplied together now. And I will have whatever that box is 2. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and throw that in the box again. And let's work that out. It's going to be x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x, 4x squared. 4 times -4 is -16x, and 4 times 5 is 20. So if I combine my like terms, looks like I have a couple terms that will cancel out. Looks like my 4x squared and -4x will cancel out. So I really am just going to have x to the 3rd power. And these are going to combine to, see, -16 plus 5 is -11, so minus 11x and plus 20. And that's my polynomial. That's everything multiplied together. Just remember to square the I, to get the I by itself, square it to get it to -1, and then move it over. All right, if you are good with that, try the your turn. I'll clear this out. And try this one right here. Give you a big fat hint here. Anytime it's a number with the I, you're going to square that number as well, okay? So pause the video, see if you can try this on your own. And I'll have it worked out and explain that solution after you unpause it. All right, you can see my solutions here. Let me kind of walk you through them. You know, it's a lot to unpack. So first thing I did was I subtracted the 5. I put a square on the outside because of the multiplicity. Over here, I didn't have a number to the left of the 4i. 4 is with the I, so it's not like 4 plus I or 4 minus I. It's 0 minus 4i. So I didn't have to bring a number over with the x, but I do want you to realize that if it's a minus 4i or positive 4i, it doesn't matter because it's a plus or minus. So I just called it positive 4i. it's the same thing because negative 4i squared is going to be the same as 4i squared because 4 squared is the same as negative 4 squared. So don't worry if there's a negative there, just square it. So what's going to happen is you're going to get x squared over here. This is going to be 4 squared, which is 16. Now remember, I squared is negative 1. So what that's going to do is it's going to flip the sign of the 16 and make it negative 16. Now if I bring that over, that's going to be x squared plus 16. Now I have my expression. And if you don't believe me, pull up one of these calculators. If you don't have one at home, when you get to class, click the mode button there and make sure you're in A plus BI mode. Go ahead and press clear. And if you actually type the square root of, what was it, negative 16. So if I work backwards here and I square root negative 16, you're going to see 4i. Now remember, it's plus or minus 4i because it's got a positive or negative with the square root. So I is going to, 4 squares to 16, but the I is going to make it negative. Okay, so bring it over and it's positive. Now over here, when I got all my stuff together, I have my x minus 5 squared. I'm going to write twice and multiply those together and get x squared minus 10x plus 25. And I'm going to box that up with the x squared plus 16. And if you do that very carefully, you might need a calculator for some of these bigger numbers. You're going to find these two terms combined to give you 41x squared, but every other term doesn't really have anything to combine with. So that is the entire solution, x to the fourth minus 10x squared, 10x cubed plus 41x squared minus 160x plus 400. And there's one more video to go along with, just kind of putting rationals or irrational numbers and i's together. So watch the next video to finish up the lesson.